Hey y'all, it's me, it's Dr. Jae, and today I wanted to introduce you to my new friend. It's my new fedora. It's the first time that I have ever worn one ever, and I love it. Quick story behind this, I was talking to a friend of mine at work recently. I don't know why we were talking about it, and I was like, I've never worn one. I really always thought that my hair was too big, my natural hair was too big. And then when I got my locks, I just knew that it was too big. And I was like, well, where would I wear it? And my friend said, just put it on. So today, where I am, it's sort of rainy, it's cloudy, all these tornado watches going around, and I'm here by myself at home, and I wanted to shoot some content. And so I figured, let me try it out. It's not too bad. But my name is Dr. Jae Denee. This is the She Spot. Welcome, and it's new. So I want to invite you to subscribe and to like and to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. All those good things. The She Spot is for highly accomplished, professional, self-aware women who are solving the world's problems and the problems in their family, and oftentimes forgetting about themselves. And so the She Spot focuses on all the things, like what it means to be a woman, and really how to embrace that, the physical part, the spiritual part, the financial aspects, but also mainly the femininity and the sexuality. Why? Because those are the parts that we can sometimes want to hide away, or we will sometimes ignore for ourselves. So we kind of focus on that along with the other things. And so welcome again. And today I want to talk about the power of the solo date, because why not? Like, so much of what we deal with is just being okay with who we are, really closing the door on what society says we should do and who we should be and how we should be it. And so many women are uncomfortable, probably not just women, but I'm talking about women, are uncomfortable with being alone. They're uncomfortable with going out alone and being seen alone, especially in a restaurant. It brings some people anxiety. Oftentimes, for some reason, there's some sort of shame and embarrassment attached to it. So that level of self-consciousness sometimes, shame won't allow women to explore life. There's so much to see and explore. And I want to tell you, one thing that was on my bucket list was to go on a vacation by myself, which I was so scared to do. A few years ago, I said it, and I went on a vacation with my cousin who was going to Disney World, and I sort of stayed in a different suite, and I was calling that vacation by myself, but it wasn't. And about a year ago, early 2025, for my birthday, I went on a cruise by myself, and it was the best experience. And I had gone on so many cruises with all of my, a whole heap of my family members, and a huge group of family friends, and I had gone with my female friends, and I had gone with my family and my children, when I was married, but I had not made that on my own. And so I decided to go, and it was so nice. I just can't even explain it, because my vibe is a little different from most. I want to relax on vacation. I don't have a whole lot of desire to do a lot of excursions or to see all the things. I literally want to relax as much as possible. I don't mind an excursion every now and again, but I just want to soak up the sun and have some cocktails and have a good dinner and catch a show. I just like it to keep it simple. So the more people, the more complicated it is for me. And so people say, but you can go off and do your own thing. I do, but I don't want to negotiate or navigate that space at all. So the solo date is one of those ways that really allows women to sort of sink into themselves, to really discover themselves in new ways. And a solo date could be one that's in your local community. It could be some, a day trip to an adjacent town or a state. It could be across country, right? To see the things that you really want to see in life. So the solo date is one of those ways too that we can just tap into ourselves and discover so much about ourselves. It allows us to shut out the noise, because the power and the magic in living a life that's cultivated in a way that is satisfying for you is to be able to shut the noise out, man. everybody has an opinion. Everybody knows what you should do, who you should be, how you should be it, especially those who grew up with you. If you, like I grew up with a huge family, right? Lots of girls. We didn't have a whole lot of boys. And in my mind, the way that it was presented is that my family members were like my friends. And I had some friends, but of course, right? In high school and such. But in my mind, my cousins were my friends. And as I grew up, I realized that that wasn't true. So I really had to begin to like find myself outside of all of the relationships that I had in some way romanticized in my own mind about their value, the need to have them, believing that without them, I would be nothing, right? It's been a process, but it has been very beautiful and very self-satisfying, and it has helped me to build so much confidence and to be more comfortable with myself. So I'm going to talk about the solo date and how it, in fact, will, one, elevate your femininity because it allows you to get right into yourself and to, just be in the space with yourself, but also to continue to cultivate that self-love. Because I refuse to believe that there's a woman on this planet who isn't aware of her femininity and who doesn't love herself in some way, right? Sometimes the confusion is, how do I make that bigger? How do I continue to get that to grow? How do I build upon that? How do I stand on that, right? So I want to talk about the solo date. So one, it elevates your confidence and your self-love, right? So with others around, we're sometimes going to lean into kind of fitting in, sometimes performing. We're going to be adjusting our tone for what we think is appropriate. Sometimes our posture. We're definitely going to be, it's going to require some negotiating, some compromising, staying with the conversation so that you can accommodate the room or the space, being able to read the room, showing up to support the people you're with if needed, to receive support if it's given or offered. But it requires your action, your mental and physical action, right? But the solo date eliminates that. It eliminates that while it's building your confidence and it's building so many other things. And then you only have to think about your own pleasure, the pleasure that you want to have in this case, right? So in a way that it feeds into your femininity is because it allows you to just be. And femininity is really just about just being. And I want to just say this, right? It's like something that you practice. One of the things that I don't want to happen, because it's something that powerful women do. We have high expectations for ourselves and others. We can be strongly critical. We don't always have the compassion for ourselves that we need. And we don't always give ourselves that time and space to grow and learn, because we get things right away. We're able to implement things and see results right away. And sometimes this time and space that you take with yourself just requires the time that it requires. Because let's just say that you're moving through some trauma. You can't rush healing, right? So you got to give it the time that it needs. We can sometimes want to get to it, but I promise you, it doesn't work that way. So what it does is allows you to just be with yourself. It allows you to build that self-love because you're learning so much about yourself as you go along. You're sitting with your own thoughts, your own opinions. You don't have to field anybody else's opinions about what you want to eat, where you want to go, how you want to dress, what time you're going to be there, what time you're going to stay, what you're going to drink, and what you're not, and all the other things. If there are going to be kids, what friends are going to be invited or not, all those things. If you're going to listen to live music or go sit in the park, whatever, you are free. And you feel that sense of freedom in your life. And depending on where you come from, life could have felt confining, right? Even as a kid, it was about the community, depending on your culture, right? I know for me, it was about the community, and everybody was considered. And you grow up with that same desire to continue to work in community. So this allows you to kind of back off into yourself. You can begin to taste the things that you want to taste, really fire off all those senses that are yours. It creates your own pace. So you don't have to rush if you don't want to, but you can rush if you don't want to. If you have planned a great date for yourself and you realize this is over, then you get to leave, right? But if you're really enjoying it, then you get to stay. And the thing that is really so powerful and impactful, in my opinion, is that you really can embrace that silence, right? You can become an observer of the space, and then you really get to see the beauty of the space. You get to maybe even meet new people and challenge yourself in that way, or not. You don't have to. But the power in a solo date is, one, to elevate your confidence and your self-acceptance. The second one is to build that center of self-trust. Self-trust is something that I think that so many people struggle with, right? Believing that you can make your own decisions without the opinions of others. Sure, we want to include and involve others in our decision making sometimes. So we've talked about the power of the solo date, right? And it helps to build that sense of confidence and self-love. But the other thing it does is it helps to strengthen sort of this inner sense of self-trust, right? So because we're powerful, self-accomplished, self-aware women, life and its demands to be in that space and take care of our families, it requires us sometimes to be hyper-independent, which is really a masculine trait. I'm not judging that. I don't want you to judge that for yourself, because this is about having compassion for yourself while you grow and glow and learn and do all the things, right? So the solo date immediately helps you to soften that up and to begin to build the self-trust around your ability to find your real inner you, right? Outside of the loud noise of the world, the loud noise of the expectations of society, the loud noise of what it means to boss up. Does that really matter if you don't feel good within yourself? Does it matter that you have a big home with a handsome husband that in a home that is self-loving and cold, and so you can pay for it? But does it matter if you don't feel good inside of yourself? I would say no. You can disagree, but what I can tell you is that it's available to you. And so the solo date is just one of those things. It's not the only thing. It's just one of the ways that helps you to get there. So the thing is that your femininity is there. It's in some way active. It can be cultivated to be more on the front line of your thinking and your actions. Maybe even being able to just step back and knowing when to step back from those masculine traits. So the solo date helps to foster that receptivity, or your ability to receive that muscle that is required for you to receive as a feminine being, because that's who we are. It opens your senses up to experience what's happening around you, all of them, whether it's how you feel, whether it's what you're smelling or tasting, all those things, what you're hearing, and really have a different relationship with different experience, a different connection with it. Being able to see that beautiful, the beauty or the essence that is around you. You're by yourself, right? No distractions. You can make friends if you want to. Don't speak if you don't want to. And the most powerful thing about this is that all of this is igniting your own intuition. Women naturally are going to think about our safety, so that builds that intuition too, or even that self-trust of knowing that you can remove yourself when you don't feel safe, or that self-trust knowing that you've already established your own safety, so you don't have to be so hyper-focused on that. So the solo date kind of indirectly brings all of those feminine aspects forward, but it also helps to continue to allow you to build upon and embrace self-love, because the solo date helps you to bring out or to discover what joy is for you, what satisfaction is for you, making your own choices about what location you're going to go to, the experiences that you're going to have, navigating that day or that evening or that weekend trip or that quick 5-day vacation, right? All in your power. You're making those choices consistent with what it is that you want to experience, with no compromises here, right? Maybe you have some financial compromises, but there's still choices that you are making, and so that in of itself helps you to reinforce your self-trust. And sometimes it is a matter of realizing that you can't trust yourself. Because what will happen is if we, a lot of times our personal relationships, our work relationships, particularly as women and Black women especially, they can be sort of hostile, right? Those microaggressions that you deal with all the time, especially if you lean more femininely or too masculinely, that's a word. Either one of those can kind of bring a different level of heat and tension into the space. Those things are not going to be avoided. You got to learn how to deal with those. So that's a whole nother conversation. But in terms of self-love and making your own choices, learning about yourself and what is at the core of you, and being really able to embrace that and to see that and to love that. I feel like I got a little bit lost there, but that's okay. I'm going to keep right on going. So you learn that you can keep your own company. You can learn that you can keep your own company and still have a good time. And in fact, have it so customized that you are more filled than you could ever imagine. You begin to understand and trust that you have created safe spaces for yourself. We talk a lot about safe spaces as women, especially in relationships with men. It's important. It really is. But a man can create a safe space for you and you're not able to see it if you haven't created one for yourself. But you do create one for yourself most of the time. It's just a matter of maybe refining it, but your home should be your safe space. And just at the basic level, there may be some tweaks in there or some big excavations that need to take place, but understanding that and trusting that you can do that for yourself. Also, it really helps you to stop looking for validation outside of yourself, stop looking for approval outside of yourself, and because you're giving yourself your own validation in that moment. You're not looking for anything from anybody. If you create new relationships while you're there, that's fine. But really, you've planned this out in a way that's going to be so joyful and so satisfying for you that you're going to be more focused on that than anything else. And so strengthening that level of self-trust is one of the big benefits of the solo date. So the very last benefit that I'm going to share with you today is the idea of beginning to romanticize your own life. We spend a lot of time, even as young girls, romanticizing life, right? What will our wedding day be like? Who's going to be our Prince Charming? Who's going to be the one that provides for me the beautiful home and the beautiful kids or whatever, right? But we spend a lot of time doing that. That's just how things are presented to us. And we begin to romanticize the lives of others even now on social media because everybody looks so good on social media. And there's a generation that really positions himself for the social media situation, right? Spending a lot of money to do that. But either way, it promotes romanticizing the things outside of you. Solo dating brings it right on back in because you begin to love yourself so much. So femininity in itself thrives on beauty and the individual flow. So as a feminine woman, you thrive on beauty. You decide what that means. But for God's sake, don't close the door on it. Like because we're so smart and oh my God, you guys, this grinds my gears. I'm sorry because I just went up an octane, I know it. But because we've accomplished so much, we just put that ahead of everything. It's like, but I'm a scientist, but I'm an accountant, or I'm a VP, right? And we can... The woman who has presented herself in an ultra feminine way and who may not have a degree, we automatically think we're better because we're smart. Stop it, please. Because it is every individual woman's responsibility to look at and take accountability who she is. And if you are denying or hiding or negating your beauty, you don't have to announce it because it's an inner thing. It's an inner thing, right? It doesn't have to be announced. It's there. But that's what femininity is. It thrives off of beauty and it has its own flow. You have your own flow. And one of the ways that you begin to know what that looks like and feels like is that you're taking yourself out. Because that involves a whole lot. What you're going to wear, feeling comfortable in what you're wearing, standing firm in who you are as you move through the world alone. So solo dating is intentional, and it helps you to establish your value in creating the life that you love and that you like, and that one that feels joyful and satisfying to you. You are centered here. You begin to create a life that you see, love, and embrace. And that romanticizing situation that was a fantasy actually becomes your reality. It looks different. It feels good though. It encourages you to kind of take note of your sensories, all of your senses, right? Those sensory experiences around you by determining what you wear. How are you going to dress? Do you want to wear perfume? Do you want to wear a particular fabric? How is it that you want to feel? Those are decisions that you get to make, right? But give some attention to it. Be intentional. You get to determine the dessert that you order or not, the one that you perhaps that is the delight to your senses, without the opinions of the guy who might be like, well, she doesn't need to be eating that because she's already gaining a few pounds. That's your business, right? But you don't have to worry about that. But it allows you to sort of tap into that sensory side of what it means to be feminine. It sends a loud and very clear message to your unconscious that sometimes lacks compassion, is so robotic and so sterile and so businesslike. Like the thing that breaks my heart the most, and one of the things that I've decided in my own life that won't be a part of my life in terms of that inner circle, is a woman who treats our friendship like a business partner that she's talking to. I'm just saying a woman in this case, because female friends are important too. What? Nobody's doing that. Like, where's your heart? Don't talk to me like I'm your client, and don't hide yourself from me, because I am generally an open person to the people who I'm open to, and if I'm not getting that back, I'm shutting it down. So for me, this solo dating helps to send the message really fast to your self-conscious to switch some things up. It allows you to understand your own worth because you have just established it when you got dressed. You feel the freedom that is yours, and it should be yours, and you should own, and you should stand 10 toes down in. You get to decide what table you sit at. You get to decide the expense of your meal, that you're going to have that expensive wine. And even if no one else knows or no one else ever sees, this is what you have established for yourself. You get to establish your own value. And that's really important, especially depending on, sort of your foundational experiences and how value is considered or fostered or not. You have to recreate those senses of value for yourself. And once you have, the minute that anything else enters your space that comes up against that or butts up against that, you'll know how to handle it, right? For me, I'm always gonna, if I care about the personal relationship, I'm gonna always initiate a conversation. And hopefully they hear my feelings. If they don't hear my feelings, I might initiate again. But if not, I'm out, right? And I'm not making an announcement, because people who care for you will hear you. And when you have begun to do this work, you will be able to, you'll know exactly what to do with those new and old relationships that come on board, in which you are experiencing some old behaviors, because you've established your own value. You get that for yourself. And even in relationship with a man, you're going to be able to know what's working for you and not. You're not going to allow someone else to establish your value at that time. It's going to be something that is non-negotiable. But at the same time, sometimes women can be very demanding and entitled in how they communicate that. You're going to be so comfortable and so steadfast in who you are that you know that you don't have to force anybody to do anything or be anything. You don't have to push yourself on anybody. You know how to communicate it. And it doesn't mean that you'll know everything, because you won't. I mean, you'll stumble. When I speak of these things, it's because of these are the things that I experienced. But also there's some things I still don't know how to navigate, but I know how I feel. Your feelings are sort of your compass, right? As you get out into the world and solo date, pay attention to your feelings. Because your feelings will let you know, is this something I really like to do, or am I doing it because I have done it all these years and people have said I should enjoy it? Or am I doing it because it's really, really invigorating and joyful for me? Your feelings are your compass. They're your barometer each and every time. Okay? So I'm going to leave it there. I want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me here at the She Spot. I also want to invite you to take a look at my webpage. It is www.lovethesheepbox.com. There's a subscription, 2 different packages, a $69 subscription and a $99 subscription. It provides for you an hour of self-love every month. Just comes to you packaged with all the instructions you have and all the things you need. It has nothing, it leaves you nothing to think about. But there are also some individual options of things that you can purchase too. It's some one-time purchase boxes of 1 hours of self-love packages as well. So I'm going to ask you to sort of visit there. And if nothing else, just subscribe, join me again, let me know what you think. And until the next time, thank you so much. I'll see you again. And just say goodbye to my little friend.